Hey guys, so as it turns out, our instant hot shower heater just isn't as powerful enough as it needs to be for the cold well water that we have here. So we want to upgrade this to a more powerful unit. So in this case here we're upgrading from the DE35 to the DE45. But the first question isn't just how we do this safely, but also if we can do this at all, because it isn't just as easy as replacing the unit. We need to make sure everything works in a safe manner once we're done with the transition. So here, the first thing we're going to do is turn off the breaker here to our instant hot water heater. And we're making sure that this is really not working anymore. And then let's have a look at the old unit and the new unit. So I decided to buy something from the same manufacturer and from the same series. You see this here. The only difference is the heating element inside. So 3,500 watts versus the 4,500 watts of the new unit. And I decided to do this because that will make the swapping out of the units really easy, since all the mounting points and the connections are going to be exactly the same. Now, the most important factor, if you can upgrade your instant hot water heater at all, is going to be the wiring. So let's take a look at that right now. And we see here the incoming green, brown and blue wires. And those have the size of 6 square millimeters, which is great because that allows us to draw up to 32 amps. And that coincides with the circuit breaker that we turned off earlier, which is also a 32 amp breaker. Now you may be wondering why I don't just take a look at the circuit breaker for the 32 amp rating, and the answer to that question is very easy. So I simply don't trust the electricians that put in the wiring. So you can see here, for example, we have the brown wire and the blue wire, which are 6 square millimeters. But if you take a look at the green wire, so this is the ground wire, you see this is only 2.5 square millimeters. So that green wire is only rated for 20 amps instead of the 32 amps. So you see somebody is trying to cut costs by using a lower amperage wire, which in this case is not a huge deal breaker because it is only the ground wire, but it's still a safety system. So technically this should be the same diameter. The green wire should have the same diameter as the other two wires as well. And so now, just as we have an incorrect ground wire, it's also possible to have the wrong neutral or hot wire as well. So we have to make sure that the wiring really matches with our circuit breaker. So now let's do a little math to check if our new water heater is compatible. So the old unit had a power rating of 3,500 watts. At 220 volts, that gives us 15.9 amps, which means we can run this water heater even on a 20 amp circuit. So now the new water heater uses 4,500 watts, which brings us to 20.45 amps. So this unit would draw too much current for a 20 amp circuit and eventually trip the breaker. And this in turn means that our new water heater requires the 32 amp wiring and circuit breaker. Now I have not recorded how to actually replace the units just because I don't have enough hands to do the work and hold my camera. In the end, all I had to do was loosen the 2 screws that hold the unit to the wall just a little bit, and then we have here the 3 wires that are connected to those clamps. And for the wiring, it is most important to remember which wire goes where. So before you start disassembling anything, make sure to take note of the wiring and the colors. Or much simpler, just take a picture once you open up your heater unit. So then we just have to also connect our water supply line. So, and this one here's this little tiny debris filter. So make sure to insert this first before you screw in the water supply. And then we have the line that goes to our shower head. Make sure there is the gasket inside of there so that we're not leaking any water here. And then we're just going to put the cover back on. In this case, there's a couple of little noses here that are on the top, and then we're just sliding it down, making sure everything is aligned right. And then we have here this little screw hole. And now in order to reset here the control, we have to turn it off, turn it counterclockwise just one time, and then everything is ready to go. So last step here, turn on the breaker again. And then we make sure everything is operating safely by using here this test button. In this case here on the side of the unit, just press that once. It should trigger the safety mechanism. And then we reset this. And now let's take a look at if our shower is working. So we're receiving hot water already. The light is turning on as well, so everything worked out fine. Yeah, okay, so this was already it for this video. Hope you found the information helpful. If you have any more questions or comments, then please leave a message below.